everybody. We're going to get started in 2 minutes. So if you need to take a moment to get some more coffee or something like that, please go ahead and do that. While you have a moment, go ahead and sign in for this session. Steve is going to keep putting the sign in form link into the chat. If it's blue, you should be able to click on it and open it. Ideally, I know sometimes it doesn't work, but go ahead and see if you can click on it and give that a try. Otherwise, you can find the sign-in link in the schedule document that you've been using to access sessions. You can find the sign-in link there as well. So go ahead and take a minute here and sign in so that we know that you are here today. And like I said, we're going to start in 2 minutes. So at 11:02, we will start. Okay, so it is 11:02, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully you've had a chance to sign in. If you're just joining us, please go ahead and take a moment to sign in. Your camera can be on or off, totally your choice. I'm going to have you go ahead and mute yourself, though, to kind of reduce background noise for other people, so there's not, rustling or typing while people are trying to listen and hear. This is Google Classroom. This is best suited for grades 3 through 12. So if you are supporting students in grades 3 through 12, you are very likely to come across Google Classroom. If you're supporting students in early ed, kindergarten, first, second grade, you might see Google Classroom, but it's less likely. So just a heads up that this is really suited for supporting students in grades 3 through 12. Okay, you're going to also need to have the slide deck open. So in another tab, you don't need to look at the slide deck and me at the same time. You'll be able to just look at me and listen, and I'm showing the slide deck and showing my screen. You also want to have the slide deck open, though. In another tab you can switch over to and just look at the slide deck, because there's lots of links and resources in there that I think will be useful later on. So Steve has put the slide deck into the chat. And again, if a link is blue in the chat, in an ideal world, you should be able to just click on that blue link and it will open for you. Sometimes that doesn't work, but you should also be able to maybe perhaps you can copy and paste it over. With the slide deck, I tried to make it into a short URL so that it's also, you could just type it into a new tab. If you open a new tab, remember you can type in a URL, and so you can actually just type in this thing, tiny, as in like little tiny, url.com/para20classroom. So if the clicking on the link isn't working for you to get the slide deck, that is another way to get to it. You can type that in. Okay. While you're doing some of those things, kind of getting yourself situated, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself, because you don't have to see me while I introduce myself. And so, oh, there it goes. I'm Jessica Peterson. I am a digital learning integration designer, and I work for the Department of Technology. I specialize in Google tools, and so I've used Google Classroom for a long time, and I'm excited to share it with you today. My moderator today is Steve. So Steve, if you'd like to take a moment to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, we'd love to hear from you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Kiesel from the Department of Technology, Digital Learning Program Administrator. And I have been using Google Classroom since about 2014 or 15 when it first came out. It's a great tool. It keeps getting better, and they keep adding features. I think if you haven't used it before, you'll really enjoy it, and maybe you'll even feel like creating your own class if you've only belonged to other classes. Just make a practice sandbox class. We are going to record today's session, and so I just want to give you that heads up that if you don't like, having your picture captured, if it should show up on the screen on our end, you may mute your camera. And to do that, go to the bottom of your Zoom screen, and then when your mouse is down towards the bottom, you'll see a slide up that says Stop Video with a little camera icon. Go ahead and click that. Then we won't see your face, and there's no chance that could be recorded. But I'm going to start pressing record, and then you'll hear a lady a recorded message saying this is recorded. We look forward to being with you today.
Okay. We have 3 norms today. And so the first norm that we're going to ask you to follow is to type your questions into the chat. Steve is going to be doing his best to answer all of your questions. And if he feels like there's a question that's coming up a lot that maybe I should answer for the whole group, or if he feels like there's a question that he's just not totally sure on the answer, he'll interrupt me and have me answer it for everyone. So please go ahead and type those into the chat. We're also asking you today to keep yourself muted so that everybody can hear. Sometimes with rustling of papers or people in the background, I know like sometimes it's garbage day and the trucks are going by, that can be really noisy and distracting for others. So we're asking you to stay muted today. We will have time today at the end for questions. We'll be able to invite you to unmute yourself and ask all sorts of questions. This is an hour and a half long, but I really tried not to plan an hour and a half's worth of stuff. So my plan is to get done plenty early, plenty of time for questions. So, as you have questions, feel free to pop them into the chat. Steve will be watching that, but at the end, we will give you a chance also to unmute yourself and ask a question if it has not been addressed yet. And then our last norm today is just to take what you can today and come back for more later. Google Classroom is a complex tool. There's always more stuff to learn and more stuff to get better at. And so we've tried to focus the session today on things that you might need as a parent in a supporting role in a classroom with another teacher. But there's always more stuff to know, and there is no test today. I'm not expecting you to be a master of Google Classroom. It's okay to not know things at the end and to still have questions. That's totally fine. It's also very normal to feel overwhelmed. There's a lot of information coming at you. We're all getting used to distance learning, so have patience, have grace with yourself, that you're not going to learn it all today, and that's okay. We have lots of resources. There's office hours, lots of ways to get more support later. So just take a couple things today. If you walk away knowing like 1 or 2 things about Classroom, that is the goal for today. The session's being recorded. You can always watch it later. And what's really nice is you can pause it. So, you can hear me explain something, pause the thing, go try it yourself, come back to the video, rewind if you need to. Having that recording, I think, will be really, really useful to you. So again, just have that grace and patience with yourself. Don't expect yourself to know everything at the end of the day today. It's totally okay not to. Okay. All right. This is our agenda for today. I want to start with a little bit of getting familiar with Classroom. So I'm kind of, getting to know what it feels like and what it looks like. I also want to talk about the different roles in Classroom. And the different kinds of people roles that you have in Classroom.
Went silent for about a minute.
Hi, I have a question. Is this the same from this morning session?
And this is Google Classroom today, so it's different from if you were with us for Docs this morning. It's different.
Okay, all right, just checking it. Thank you.
Where did I last leave off?
Let's see. I think you were just actually you should go back about a minute.
A minute, go back to my norm.
Yeah. And yeah, you were just on the norm slide, I think. And if it happens again, you may need to mute your video.
Okay. I might go ahead and mute my video preemptively just in case. So that way, maybe it won't happen again, fingers crossed. Okay, well, I'm still here. Now you can hear my lovely voice talking to you. One of our norms, you can obviously read them yourselves, but I do want to talk about the light blue bubble at the bottom, the take what you can today and come back for more later. Oh, my screen's not being shared. I'm sorry, I forgot that I got totally kicked out. Let me try to get that back going. There we go. Okay. It wouldn't be teaching if like 10 things didn't go wrong, right? Like even in a physical classroom, if 10 things did not go wrong, it would not be teaching. So this is great. We're all going to get there. Don't worry. So just have patience and grace with yourself and with my internet connection, because today it's very normal and very reasonable to feel like you're getting a lot of information and it might feel like it's coming very fast. I really tried to structure today's session to just have the stuff that I really anticipate that you'll need to know as you're supporting teachers and working with students in Google Classroom. But there's lots and lots of stuff to learn. So if you walk away today with like 1 or 2 things, you have met the goal. That's it. If you know 1 or 2 things at the end of the day today, you're doing great. You'll be able to come back and watch this, this recording later. You'll be able to pause, rewind. You can actually slow me down. So if you feel like I'm talking too fast, there's a setting in the recording where you can, in the gear, you can put me at 75% speed. So lots of ways to get extra help and support. Just don't feel like you have to learn it all today. There's no test, I swear. Okay. So this is our plan for today. I want to talk a little bit about getting familiar with Classroom. I want to kind of help you understand like what the layout is like and that kind of stuff. We're going to play I Spy. I'm pretty excited about that. We're going to talk about the roles in Classroom, what different roles can do in Classroom. I'm going to give you a break in the middle. Just because I feel like I will probably want to get up and stretch. I imagine you'll want to get up and stretch. We have an hour and a half together. That's a long time to just sit and stare at a computer screen. So I'm going to give you a break. Then we're going to dive into a little more of an interactive piece where I'm going to have you actually get into a classroom. So while we're on break, I'm going to assign you all to classrooms. And we're going to practice how do you view students' work? How do you open up students' work in Classroom? We're going to talk about leaving feedback and comments. And then, like I said, we'll have lots of time at the end. It's my plan to have lots of time at the end to do questions where you can unmute yourself and ask anything that you have not yet already gotten answered. And I have lots of resources for you. So going back to that norm, there'll be plenty of stuff to come back for later. Don't worry. Okay, let's get familiar with Classroom. So there are 2 ways to get to Classroom. You can go to classroom.google.com, or you can go to the waffle. I am not going to have you do that right now. So I know some of you are like, oh, cool, I'll go do that. Pause, time out. I'm going to have you just listen, and later I'll give you a chance to practice that. But either way you go to Classroom, it doesn't matter. It's going to take you to your home page, your Classroom homepage. And that's going to look like this. And so on your Classroom homepage, you just have tiles for all of the classes you're in. You can rearrange these tiles. You can drag and drop. So if you click and hold down on a tile, you can actually scoot it over to where you want it to be. But to go into that class, you just click on that class's tile and it's going to take you into that class. Classrooms look like this. When you're in a Google Classroom class, it looks like this. And all classrooms are structured the same way. There's no options to have different pieces. All classrooms have the same pieces. So once you get to know one classroom, you can navigate any classroom. I'm going to kind of go through the different parts of Classroom and explain them. And then, like I said, we're going to play I Spy. So listen carefully for some of these things. There are 3 main areas of Classroom. We have the stream. And in this case, I can tell that I'm on the stream because there's this dark, thick line underneath the word stream. That tells me I'm on the stream. The stream is a place for announcements and things like that. There's also the classwork section. If I click on classwork, this dark, thick line actually moves over under classwork, so I know I'm on the classwork tab. So that line is going to move whenever I'm on a new tab. So classwork is where all this stuff goes. That's where students will find assignments. That's where you'll go to see students' work and to leave feedback and things like that. That all happens on that classwork tab. And then there's the People tab. And again, if I click on the People tab, this dark thick line will move over under People. So I know I'm on the People tab. And the People tab is just where all the people go. So that's how I would add students if I needed to enroll students. That's where I would remove people. I could add co-teachers in there. We're going to talk a lot more about people, but all the people stuff happens on the People tab. There's also a Grades tab. Students can't see the Grades tab unless the teacher turns it on. We recommend teachers leave it off, so you can probably just ignore this Grades tab. I'm going to kind of work clockwise around the screen. So if I go over here to the right, there's this gear or cog, and that's the settings for this class. Next to that, we have the waffle or the Google Apps Launcher. If I click on that, I can get to things like Drive, I can get to Gmail, I can actually get to Docs and Slides, all inside of there. That's like a little shortcut button to get to different Google tools. And then again, if I'm working my way clockwise around, so I'm going to come over here, there's this little upcoming section here on the stream. This is automatically populated by Classroom. Classroom fills in that box for you when their due date's coming up soon for assignments. So you don't actually have to do anything with that box, but it's nice to know it's there. And it is one of the first things that students see when they come into the class. Whenever they come into Classroom, they're always put on the stream first. And this little box here lives on the stream. And then up here in the upper left-hand corner, finishing up my clockwise rotation, I have 3 horizontal lines. I call it the stack of pancakes because it looks like a stack of pancakes. Some people call it a hot dog or a hamburger menu. But when I click on that, there's a little sidebar that's going to pop out, and I can actually move between different classrooms. Okay, so there I'll see a list of all my classrooms, and I can easily move between classrooms. So if this is, my first period class, and I need to now move into my second period class, I would click on that stack of pancakes there. It's going to pop out that sidebar, and I could choose my second period class. Okay. All right. Let's see what you know. We're going to play I Spy. So I've got the same picture here now, but I don't have any of the arrows or boxes anymore. So I'm going to describe a button or an area, and I want you to, you can use your mouse or you can use your finger. I want you to go ahead and kind of point to that, and then I will let you know what the correct answer is so you can check, okay? So I Spy, where is the section where I would put assignments and homework? Where's the section where I would put assignments and homework? I'll give you a second to think about it. Assignments and homework, where are those? Hopefully you're pointing to the classwork tab. That is where assignments and homework go. Okay. What would I click on? I Spy, what would I click on to find a way to get to Gmail or to Google Drive, to other Google tools? What would I click on to find a way to get to other Google tools? Give you a second to think about it. Okay, you should be pointing to the waffle. I love it, the waffle. Technically it's called an apps launcher, but I love calling it the waffle. The waffle. Okay, you guys are good. Next question. What would I click on to go to a different classroom class? If I wanted to switch to, like I said, second period, what would I click on to go to a different classroom class? Let you think about it. The stack of pancakes over here in the corner. Nice job, the stack of pancakes. Okay, where would I go to see all the students who are enrolled in a class? All the students who are enrolled in a class, where would I see that? You guys are fast. The People tab. Hopefully that's an easy one. I like the fact I called it People because that's a really easy way to remember it. Okay, where would I go to see announcements and reminders? That's on the stream. Nice job. Where would I go to adjust settings for this class? If I needed to look at the settings for the class, where would I go? That's that cog or that gear. Yep, perfect. Okay, I got one more. How do I know which area I'm in Classroom? How can I tell if I'm in the stream, classwork, or people area? How would I know? What tells me? Yep, that thick line, because that line is going to move. And this line is technically blue. It matches the color of the classroom. If my classroom were pink, it'd be a pink line. But that line is going to move to wherever I am in the classroom. Nice job. You guys are good. I thought I might stump you, but I guess not. All right. Let's talk about roles in classroom. So as a para, you should be added as a co-teacher, because that gives you access to students' work and to be able to give them feedback and that kind of stuff. So all co-teachers in a class can see any student's work and grades in that class. So as a para, even if you're not supporting all students, you do have access to all students' work and any scores they receive for that work in classroom. Co-teachers can add, edit, and delete announcements, items, and people. So again, even though you might be supporting a classroom teacher, you do have the ability to add or delete assignments. So again, if that's something that your teacher, someone that you're working with wants you to do, or if that's part of something that you're doing is creating a modified assignment for a student, you can add assignments and you can delete them and edit them. You also can add people and remove people from the classroom. So teachers in general, anybody who's got that teacher role in classroom has pretty much the same powers. And then you can also view and add private comment threads on assignments. So in an assignment, there's a space where students can, or teachers can write a private comment, and that's like a private conversation between the student and any teachers in the classroom. But it's that even though it says it's private, again, only the one student can see it, but any co-teachers can see it. And so you can see any private comments that other co-teachers have left in the class. They can see any private comments you've left. So it's not, so private is more like between teachers and the student. That's what makes it private. When you're added as a co-teacher, you're going to get an email invitation to join. And that email invitation looks like this right here in the middle. You have to click that join button to be in the class. You also can go to Google Classroom. This is our Google Classroom homepage, and any classes you've been invited to also show up. There's an accept button here. The tile shows up and you can click accept. So if if you're working with several different teachers and they've all invited you to all of their classrooms, you can actually, sorry about that. Let me make that silent. So it's not dinging anymore. So many dings. Okay, so you can actually, if you're getting invitations from multiple teachers in different, multiple classrooms, and you're, the emails, you may be losing emails or they're hard to find. There's lots of emails coming in. You also can just go to the Google Classroom homepage. Remember classroom.google.com, or you can find it in the waffle, and the tile is going to show up, and you can just click accept. So there's two ways, either that email or just right inside a Google Classroom. While teachers can see everybody's work and grades and that kind of stuff, students cannot see each other's. I feel like classroom is a little bit of a lonely experience for a student, just because they can only see their own stuff. So that's kind of just it's good to know, is that you can see everybody's stuff, but students can't see each other's stuff. Okay. When you're added to a class, as a co-teacher, it signs you up for emails from that class, and that can feel overwhelming sometimes. You can adjust what emails Classroom sends you. This is something you kind of need to do later once you've been added to teachers' classes. So you'll want to refer back to this slide later, and you just follow these, excuse me, so is this sneeze. You just follow these these 4 steps. I can count these 4 steps. You go to the stack of pancakes. At the very bottom of that sidebar, there's a settings thing for all of Classroom, and that's how you're going to adjust your email notifications. I know it's a little small, this little blue switch. If it's blue, it's on. If it's gray, it's off, and you just click on it to change it. So again, that's something you'll want to come back to later. Once you have multiple classes, you want to come back to later to adjust those email settings. So that's why it says refer back to this slide later. This is a later resource. Okay. So I know we're only maybe, a half an hour or so in, but in order to get ready for the second part, you actually, we're going to do the break next. Before you go on break though, we need to do some preparation. I think I lost myself again, didn't I? Am I back? Am I back?
You were just about to tell us the important thing we need to do for the next part.
Great. So I need you to do a little bit of preparation before you go on break. I'm going to enroll each of you in a fake Google Classroom as a co-teacher. And so what I need is to get your email address so that I can add it to the classroom as a co-teacher. So there's a form linked here. Steve is also going to put the link into the chat for the form. So if you're not in the slide deck yet, that's okay. But basically the form just asks for your SFUSD email address. That's the only question. Give me the whole thing, the whole email address, including the @sfusd.edu part. If you don't have an SFUSD email address yet, you can submit a personal Gmail. You do need a Google account to have access to Classroom. So if you only have a Hotmail or something like that, you will not be able to access Classroom. But don't worry, although there are times where I'm going to let you practice, that's part of this activity. I'm going to demonstrate first and then give time to practice. I am going to demonstrate, so you'll still learn. It's not like you won't learn anything if you don't have a Google account. So go ahead and grab that form. Steve just put it into the chat. Grab that form, fill it out. I'm actually going to give you, let's come back at 11:35. So that should be enough time to get to the form, fill out the form, and then still get a 5-minute break. If you are super speedy, you'll end up with like 7 or 8 minutes. So at 11:35, we're going to come back together and we'll move on. And we'll start doing some hands-on practice inside of Classroom. Okay, so in case I was a little garbly or in case you want to hear it again, I'm going to enroll each of you into a Google Classroom as a co-teacher. And so I need your SFUSD Google email address to be able to add you as a co-teacher. So while we're on break, I'm going to go and add everybody to Classrooms. I need your whole email address in the form. And so that's the whole thing. So your whole email, including the @sfusd.edu part. You're not going to put it in the chat. Don't put it in the chat. I want it in the form, please, so that I can copy and paste a bunch of them at once. Okay, so so in the chat, Steve put the activity prep form link. You're going to click on that link and go ahead and insert your email address into that form. And then I'll get a whole list of email addresses I can copy and paste and put them into. I've got 12 fake Google Classrooms that I made with student work examples in them that I also made. So they're not great. And so this will allow me to be able to add you guys to different classrooms. Steve is going to keep putting the form in the chat. He's doing a great job today.
Yes, if you try to click on it on your screen where you're seeing it on Jessica's slide, that will not work. That will not be live, but it is a live link in the chat.
Yeah, so go to the chat and it's a live link there. You can click on it and fill it out. "40 people have filled out so far. Nice job." Once you fill it out, you can certainly go on break. If you don't have an SFUSD email address and you don't have a Google email address, you don't need to fill out the form. You can actually just go ahead and go on break. But if you have an SFUSD email address or if you have a personal Gmail, if you don't have SFUSD yet and you have a personal Gmail, you can submit that. But it does have to be a Google account to have access to Classroom because Classroom is a Google tool.
Okay, there are some folks that are putting their email address in the chat. If you can please go ahead and not do that, we won't be able to enroll you in the classroom that way. We need you to fill out the activity prep form, which Jessica just linked in the chat again. Thank you so much.
Someone asked, they said they have their own Google Classroom. Can they do the activity there? in this activity, I'm going to have you practice interacting with example student work. So if you have a Google Classroom where you have student work that you can do stuff with and it doesn't mess anything up, you could do it in your own classroom. I created, again, I've got dummy student accounts that I created some fake student work that we can comment and write on all we want, and it's not a real student's work. So I've created almost like a safe space to like play around. You like can't mess it up or break it in any way. So I would say, I'd recommend, go ahead and submit your email to this, even if you have a Google Classroom, just so you've got, a safe classroom to play in. At the end of the day today, I'm going to remove you all from that classroom. So it's not going to stick around. You won't have an extra classroom cluttering anything. You won't get any extra emails from a classroom. But I'd say go ahead and submit your email address if you can.
Hi, folks. A couple of people were asking, how do you copy from a Chromebook? The easiest answer is if you have a mouse that you can either plug in or connect wirelessly to your Chromebook, that's great, because then you can drag over it with the mouse and right click. But if you can't, here's what you have to do. You have what's called the trackpad at the bottom, and you put your cursor right at the beginning of the text that you want to select. And then you plant your thumb, and that tells the computer, oh, okay, you're going to be selecting something. And then you use your finger to drag over the text, and it should all highlight blue at that point. When it's done highlighting, then you put 2 fingers down on the trackpad and add your thumb. It's called a 3-finger click. And that click will tell it's like it will cause some options to appear on the screen, like a little menu. And either the menu will say copy, or it may say services. And when you click on services, then open will be an option. So that's how you would open a link that was in the chat if it doesn't work when you just tap on it on your trackpad. But again, if it is blue in the chat, you might try just giving it a tap with your mouse and see if that works for you. I hope that helps. And also, just for your peace of mind, if you are able to get your principal or someone to, your school may have some old mice lying around that they can give you, or your principal may be able to help you buy one. I know the trackpad can be difficult, and the older folks get, and the less nimble their fingers, it's even more difficult. So your principal may be able to help with that, or you may be able to even just get a cheap mouse at bestbuy.com or Amazon to make your life easier. Hopefully that'll help too.
Stephen.
Yes, Mavis. Mavis, is that how you like to be called?
Yes. I'm trying to fill out the form for the fake form that you want us to fill out so that we can do the activity. But
Yes.
I can't. How do I do it?
So were you able to open up the live forum, or were you just looking at what's on the
No,
slide
I
from
wasn't
Jessica?
able to open it up.
You were not able to open it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let me, because we still only have a couple minutes left, let me try to email that to you. Can you tell me your email address, and I'll drop
It's
that in right now?
it is Nelson hyphen Bishop M at
Oh, I've actually got her
SFUSB.
in a classroom already. So I grabbed her.
Oh, hey, good news. Jessica was able to enroll you, so you're all set.
Okay.
Woohoo!
Yay. Okay. So it is currently 11:35, but I know some of you were still working on the form up until like a minute or so ago. So I'm gonna give you another couple minutes. We have lots of time. We still have like a whole other hour together, and what I have left will not take an hour, I promise. So if you need to go ahead and stretch, go, give somebody else in your house a high five because you're doing a great job today, sticking with it. Whatever you need to do, grab some water, whatever it is. So maybe a couple more minutes.
And if for the life of you, you just haven't been able to get that form to work for you, please do unmute as well and read me your email address. I'll send it to you that way.
This is Sylvia.
Hi, Sylvia.
Hi, I'll give you my address. It's MENA-S.
That's MENA, right?
S.
Oh, I gotcha. It auto-filled from the Active Directory.
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, Stephen. It's Sandra Navarro.
Hi, Sandra. Are you having the same issue?
Hey, that three-finger trick, I'm telling you, it must be my arthritis or something. I can't do it. But it's Navarro, Navarros.
All right.
Yeah, at SFUSD.
All right.
I need a
And,
mouse.
uh-oh, I'm sending it to Navarro in my directory.
Yeah.
Navarro, right?
Yeah, Navarros.
There you are.
Okay, thanks.
All right, heading your way. Thank you for your patience.
Steve, this is Deborah Boero, B-O-E-R-O-D.
1 second, Deborah. Let me get right there. Okay, that's B-O-E.
R-O-D.
I gotcha. All right, thank you. Coming your way.
Can you hear me?
And I'm also sending this to Tan M1, who left their email address in the chat. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I'm Elizabeth Merle. I did not know how to open the slide deck. That's still necessary?
The slide deck will help. Were you able to get the link in the chat? Did you see it there?
Yes, I have the link, but I don't know. It didn't work. But anyway, I'll.
Okay, so what I'll do, because we still have just a minute on break, is I will, and so I'm able to do this, I will email you both a link to the slide deck, and so you can click on it from your email, and I'm also going to link this activity prep form, which is probably the first thing you should do, so we can enroll you in that classroom.
Okay.
Hi, Steve. It's Verushka Bratt. My email is BRATTV.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay.
I wish I were faster.
Sorry.
No problem. All right, I'm going to send this out to the same email that Elizabeth is getting. And how do I spell your name again?
B as in boy, RATTV
at sfusd.
All right, it's already on its way. Check your inbox in 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else? I know a couple of people, I see their email in the chat, but maybe you had success. But if you didn't have success, please speak up now. I'm here to help. You will have to unmute to speak up.
Can you sign me into?
Sure. Well, what I'm doing is I'm sending you the link. You'll be able to find that in your email. Is that okay? And then
Okay.
fill it out. And who is that?
Fung, F-U-N-G-A at sfusd.edu.
Wow. You swapped that one up. You must have been with us a while. That's a hard to get email address. Most people have a number after that. All right. Heading your way in about 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start moving forward. If you're looking in your Gmail, you should have seen an invitation to join it starts with temp in brackets, temp Paraeducator Institute, and then it's got a number after it, just so I could keep things straight. I've been trying to also add people as they've been popping in the chat or as they've been saying it out loud. I've been trying to grab as many as I could to get you in there. Yep, I got both of those. Okay, great. So I'm gonna have you go ahead and switch back to me and look at me. Well, you can't see me, my video's off, but look at my slide deck. Come back to Zoom here for a second, and I'm gonna give you some instructions, and then, oh, that's the break slide. And then I'll like release you to try something on your own and be here to help you, obviously, and that kind of thing. And then we'll come back and I'll tell you about some more things and release you to try some more things on your own. So it's gonna kind of be like a guided release. Like I'll explain things together and then I will let you try them yourself, and we'll help you if any questions come up. Okay, so you should be looking at my slide deck. You're back in Zoom now. I'm on slide 17. And so when you're in Classroom as a teacher, Classroom gives a little summary of the assignment if you click on its name. So in this case, this pink bar here, when I clicked on it, it expanded down and gave me some more information. And it will tell you how many students have turned the assignment in, how many students it's just assigned to, meaning they haven't turned it in, and then how many students their work has been graded. That means that some co-teacher has gone in and returned their work back to them with the score. What's good to know though is that turned in just means that the student clicked the turn in button. That work may or may not actually be done. The same thing with assigned. That just means the student did not click the turn in button. Their work might be done and they might have forgotten to click that turn in button. So you can't necessarily assume that just because it's assigned, that means it's not done, or just because it's turned in, that it is done. Something that's good to know is that you can open any student's work. So in my second picture down here, I know it's very tiny and small to see. You'll be able to see it better when you look in the classrooms I put you in a few minutes. But there's a little preview of the document, of the file, and so you can actually go in and look at that student's work, even if they're not done with it, even if it's already been returned and graded. You can always go back and pop into it. So that's pretty cool. Classroom will tell you when something's turned in late, but it doesn't tell you when they turned it in. So it's helpful, but not necessarily super helpful. And then as a co-teacher, you can see any scores and feedback that anybody else has left. So I did touch on this already, that when it comes to turning things in, students have to click that turn in button for Google Classroom to assume the work is done. It's kind of like, think about like a student with a piece of paper at their desk. If they just hold onto the paper at their desk, it's not considered turned in. It's the same idea. But this is a routine that you're gonna have to help students really practice and work on. So whatever, you think about like when you were in an actual physical classroom, there was probably a routine in the classroom that when students were done, they always turned their paper into the blue basket, right? There was probably some sort of routine. This is the same routine. It's just clicking a button instead of putting it in a place. So you probably have to help students, kind of reinforce that habit of like, when I'm done with my work, I go back to Classroom and I click turn in. Students may also need to attach their document. to be able to add it. So in this case, I've got a picture of it here, what it looks like on the student screen. Here's a piece of work already attached. It's a Google Doc file. It's called example, but sometimes their work isn't there yet. And so they have to click the add button to go ahead and attach it. They can find it in Drive and attach it. And then there's that big turn in button. What's neat about Classroom is that just like how with a piece of paper, if students give you a piece of paper, they can't write on it anymore. Classroom does the same thing. When a student clicks that turn in button, it takes away their editing rights because it's like, they've handed it in. So they can't type on it or write on it when it's in that turned in state. In order for a student to get editing rights back, you have to return it. And there's a big return button. You'll see that today when you're playing around in Classroom. But you have to give it back essentially before kids can write on it again, before kids can work on that file again. So that's just kind of a neat thing to know, that if a student turns it in, they won't be able to work on it anymore. Okay. So to navigate the assignments window, when you click on View Assignment for an assignment, in the teacher view, this is what it looks like. So again, I'm a co-teacher in this class. I think I'm actually the only teacher in this particular class I've got pictures from. But I can see that 3 students have turned it in, 8 are still working on it, or have not clicked turn in yet, and I've graded 1 student and never returned it back to them. And so I can see that these 3 students who have turned it in, I can look and see and actually click on their files and look at it. And then if I want to go back to the classwork tab to look at a different assignment, then I just click on the name of the classroom. Okay. So when I clicked on View Assignment, that took me into this new space where I'm working with this assignment, and I can look at different students' work. But if I want to go back to that classwork tab to look at a different assignment, I have to click on the name of the class, which I will admit that's not super intuitive, but again, you're going to get practice today, so you'll become more comfortable with it. Okay, so here's where it's your turn. So the first thing I'm going to explain the directions, and then I'm going to release you to do it. And if you have problems, you can always type in the chat or unmute, and we'll help you with it. Okay, but you're going to open a new tab. You're going to go to Google Classroom. Remember, you can get to Google Classroom by typing in classroom.google.com, or you can go to Gmail and use the waffle and get to Classroom that way. You're going to see a tile with an invitation to that class. You're going to accept that class. You're going to join and jump in. And then I just want you to go ahead and open some assignments and open some files and kind of practice that, how do I click on the picture of the file to open it? Then how do I get back into, the classwork tab to be able to, pick a different assignment and open up a different document. So it's just kind of like playing around and clicking and opening different things and getting comfortable with that feeling of navigating your way through Classroom and looking at students' work. Okay. If you're working on a phone, you can use the Google Classroom app and just make sure that or also if you're on a tablet like an iPad, there's a Google Classroom app that just makes sure you're logged in with your SFUSD email account, and then you can do this activity in the app. It might look a little bit different. These are screenshots from a computer, but just again, kind of poke around and click around. You can't break anything. These are not real people. I made all of these assignments. That's why they're so terrible. So don't feel like don't worry about clicking on stuff or trying stuff. You cannot break this, I promise. So Karen asked if you go to your emails to accept or to Classroom. Actually, either one. You can go just straight to your Gmail and accept the email invite, or you can actually also go to Classroom and there'll be a tile there. You can click accept. Either one, both works.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
I
Yes,
kind of
hello.
my screen got lost.
It sounds like that can happen with Zoom. Try hitting the escape key
Okay.
because it may be, I don't know, that may work.
Oh, now I got back. Is
Great.
that now the screen say your turn, something like that?
Yes.
Yes, you're there. You found us.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you.
It can be difficult to do Zoom and do work in other tabs at the same time. It takes a little getting used to, but you'll get there.
Thank you.
Steve or Jessica.
Yes.
I forgot. I opened everything in not an SFUSD account. When after I accepted, Google said choose an account, and I'm stuck there with my Gmail account versus the school account. And I bet you sent it to my school account.
I did. I did send it to your school account. Is there an add an account button?
It asked me to choose an account, use another account. So I'm trying to move from the Gmail, my regular Gmail, to the school account, but all it does, it just run the line on top, just keep on running.
So when it's asking you to choose an account, is there a button that says add an account?
It said, no, it just have my regular Gmail and school Gmail, and then use another account.
Okay. And you can you click on your school Gmail if it's listed there?
What's that? Yes, it is there. But when I press on it, it said copy, lookup, speak.
I just one finger click on it.
What on where?
On your school email address.
Okay. Yeah. It's not changing.
So when you, sorry, just to make sure I understand, since I can't see it, when you list of the two different accounts, your personal and your school, one finger on your school account, nothing happens?
No.
Okay. What is your, because you have a personal email?
Say that again?
You have a personal Gmail?
Yes.
Okay. Let me add your personal Gmail. That's easy.
Okay. It's raymamui415@gmail.com. It's RAYMAMUI 415@gmail.com.
Gmail.com. All right. There.
Hello.
There we go. Okay. Check your personal email, Raymond.
All right.
Hello.
Hi.
I have a question. So I kind of stepped out when you were giving the instructions on how to use the restroom. You said just go in and read the documents and then hit return, or
You don't need to return anything right now. I mean, you can if you want to, but right now we're just practicing that, like how to go in and look at a document and then like go and look at a different document, or like how do I go and look at a different
Oh
assignment?
my gosh.
That workflow, and like clicking through what.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I
Yeah.
didn't quite hear the last part.
Yeah. So we're just practicing how you go through and click to get to different assignments. So how you could click view assignment to open it up, see how to open up a student's document by clicking on the picture of their document, how you can get back into that classwork tab to look at a different assignment and a different document. Just kind of we're practicing that piece there. You don't need to worry about returning anything right now.
Okay, thank you.
Jessica.
Yeah.
How do I get into the Chrome Google Classroom?
So you're going to open a new tab.
So I have to get out of Zoom completely?
Don't leave Zoom, but you should go to in Chrome, open up a new window.
And are folks clear of how to open up a new tab? There's a couple ways to do it, actually. But you need to be looking at Chrome, and you know you're looking at Chrome because, for example, it would have like Classroom or the Google home screen or something like that. And if you are not looking at Chrome and you're using a Chromebook, you can take your mouse and go to the bottom of the screen, and you should see the little color wheel that stands for Google Chrome. Click on that. And you can always open up a new tab in Chrome by, at the very top, there's a little plus symbol. So you'll see the tab for the screen you're in, and then just click on the plus symbol next to that.
And when we open the new tab, what we were supposed to do?
You'll type in classroom.google.com.
Classroom. Classroom Google what?
Classroom.google.com. So there's those periods in there. Classroom, period, Google, period, com.
Google period .com?
Yep, .com.
And then enter?
And then enter.
Okay. Thank you. There you go.
Yay.
Was I supposed to do something else?
So then you'll click accept is what it says in the classroom, and you'll be able to go into that class, and then you're just going to try opening up assignments. So you can click view assignment and go into the assignment and open up students' work. We're just kind of practicing that, like, how do I navigate between different students' documents? How do I navigate between different assignments within Classroom? And if you want, you can kind of play around with some of the other things we talked about, like the stack of pancakes. You can play around with the settings cog. Like I said, you cannot break this. It's meant to just be played in. So feel free to click around and try stuff. No big deal.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Gloria mentioned something in the chat I wanted to bring up for everybody. Gloria said that her classroom screen seems different from like a computer, PC, Chromebook type screen, looking at it there versus looking at it on her phone. And it is different. So on a phone or on a tablet like an iPad, you're going to have to use the Classroom app, and it just looks and feels a little bit different. It's got the same spaces. You've still got a stream, a classwork, and a people space. You've still got, you know, you can go and look in at students' assignments. Students would still see a turn-in button, all of that kind of stuff, but it's laid out just a little bit differently to be able to format that screen, just because phone screens are smaller, tablet screens sometimes are smaller than laptop screens are. So it does just look a little bit different, but it's got the same areas, the same stuff, the same features. Okay. If you are still working on clicking around in different assignments and whatnot, I'm going to have you go ahead and pause. You will have more time. Don't worry. This is not the last thing we're going to do in Classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next piece. And then again, like I said, I'll give you some more time to play with the next piece. So you can always come back and click around through assignments and that kind of stuff, get yourself familiar.
So how you pause?
Okay. So I want to talk about leaving feedback and comments as a way to communicate with students inside of classroom.
Jessica,
Yeah.
how you pass from the classroom?
How do you pause from the classroom? Oh, I'm sorry. Pause was not a very good word to use. I apologize. I'm gonna have you go ahead and come back to Zoom and look at me, and then we'll go back to the classroom in a second.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry. That was unclear. Thank you for asking. Okay. So when it comes to doing feedback and stuff inside of classroom, leaving comments inside of classroom, remember that you can see students' attached work. So anything that they've attached on that they've added, you'll see it there. Students do have to add their work oftentimes to attach it. There is a way for the teacher adding an assignment to make a copy of a template for each student. That will automatically attach that copy for that student. But for the most part, when students are creating a new document or creating a new slide deck, they'll have to remember to attach that work to their assignment. So if you can't see anything attached to their assignment, that's because they didn't use that add button. And I did that a few times for a few assignments in there. So you could see what that looks like where you can't see an attached document because nothing is attached. You can leave comments then on students' work, and anybody who's got that teacher role, who is a co-teacher in classroom, can both see and leave comments. So that can be really, really helpful that you can see any comments that, if you're supporting a teacher in their classroom, you can see what comments they've left. They can see what comments you've left. It's really nice for transparency. And then when you're giving feedback, so when you've opened up an assignment and you want to put comments on the assignment, maybe you want to encourage them to think of something a different way, or maybe they need to write a little more, or whatever it is. I wanted to kind of show you talk a little bit about this screen. You should have seen it as you were opening up students' assignments, but I just want to talk about some of the features that are built into it here. So I can switch between students at the top. There's only 2 students in your class. So you're only seeing, I think it's show student 41 and show student 43 are the only 2 in there. But in a real class where you're supporting a teacher, you would see the whole list of all the students enrolled in the class there, and you could switch between students there. Remember that Classroom has taken away their edit rights when they turned it in, and so it actually gives those edit rights to you. So you can type right into their document if you want to. So feel free to try that out when we get back to practice time. You can also leave private comments. So again, if you're looking at my screen on the right side, there's that space that says private comments. Those are those comments that only the student you're giving them to, and then any co-teachers in the class can see. So if I give private comments to student 43, student 41 can't see those private comments, but all the co-teachers can. So again, that way to see, if another teacher in the room has left feedback for a student or has asked a student questions, you can follow up on it. And vice versa, they can see any comments you've left there. You can also highlight text in the document and leave a comment right on that text. So in this case, I've highlighted he wears socks, and then I want to, maybe I want to hear more detail. Maybe that's not correct. I want to, ask them to think about that again. Whatever it is, there's this little button on the side that appears. I tried to also show it over here underneath. There's this little button. When you highlight something up, there's a little button that appears, and that's the comment button. And so when I click on that, I'll get a little pop-up where I can type things in, and then I want to make sure I push comment to save my comment. So you can highlight things, and then those things you've highlighted turn yellow. So these other things in here that are yellow are where other comments are. And again, only that student can see the comments on their work, and then anybody who's a co-teacher in the class can see those comments as well. And the comments have the name of the person who left them, so you'll also know who left that. So if it's, again, the teacher you're supporting, you'll be able to see what their comments were and know it was left by them. They'll see anything that you left and know it's from you. Okay, back to your turn. So again, if you still want to work on navigating through and just how to open up assignments and that kind of stuff, by all means, feel free to take time to do that first. But I want you to go ahead and practice opening up a student's document, highlight some text, add some comments, add a private comment. There are 5 documents, I believe, that are attached to different assignments. There's 6 assignments, but there are 5 with documents. So kind of spread yourselves out a little bit. There's 2 students, that's 10. There should be enough that you aren't all in the same document, because you will see each other in that same document. But go ahead and practice. Highlight text and add some comments. Add a private comment somewhere. Then switch to the other student's document. Remember, there's only 2 students in this class, so switch to the other student's document. Then switch to a different assignment and do some more, repeat those steps again. So just some time to kind of play and practice. And again, if you
Jessica, forgive me if you already answered this, but someone in the chat asked, where will a student see the comment or the private comment? Will they get an email, or how will they know that you commented?
Yeah, that's a great question. Classroom does send them an email. So they do get an email. They'll know that you've left a private comment. They also can go into their assignment and see it there. So when they go into Classroom, they'll see private comments. And you may have also seen that I added some private comments on behalf of these dummy student accounts already. So you might see some private comments already in there that I added as students. So students can also comment the other way to ask questions, to ask for help. And I did these before you were a teacher. As a teacher, you would get an email saying the student submitted a private comment. So you didn't get that email because I added you after I put that comment in there. But otherwise, if I were to go and make a comment now, you would all get an email that says that student 41 left a private comment on this assignment. Great questions, thank you.
Thank you.
And again, you can't break this. Highlight anything, comment anything. This is a safe space to do whatever you want to try.
I'm sorry, I didn't see the private comment. Where do you send it to?
Yeah, so the private comments are actually technically in 2 places in Classroom, but they show up whatever you put in one place also shows up in the other place, but there's 2 ways to leave a private comment. When you're looking at a student's document, on the right-hand side, you'll see a space that's for private comments, and you can type something in there and click post. When you're also looking at a student's, when you're in that assignment page where you can see all the students and all the different work that you could click on, if you click on a student's name, you'll also see a space in there to leave a private comment for that student.
Okay, thank you.
Jessica? Jessica?
Yes.
I'm with looking at an assignment, but I'm stuck there. How do I get back out to look at the next students?
Yeah, this is like the tricky part. You click on the student's file, like a student's document.
Okay.
Are you looking at a student's file?
I'm looking at the whole body of work.
So it's like a Google Doc. It's like a file.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is actually open in its own tab. You can just close that tab. It will pop you back into where you were before.
Do I do return? No, that's not it.
No. So it opened that in a new tab. If you look at the top, you've got multiple tabs going there, and so you can actually close. You can click the little black X for that tab.
Okay.
That'll put you back in classroom.
Got it. Thank you.
That's why we practice this, because it's not intuitive to find.
All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
These students are very sophisticated. They're talking about what is a spreadsheet? Oh, come on.
I copied and pasted from online.
Like in the frog too, I said, gee, you guys are very good, very informative. Good job.
I'm learning so much today, not just about classroom.
Better go and look at other assignments.
Check out some other assignments. There's something for everybody.
Okay.
I'm trying to leave a comment on the muscle car one, and I'm not able to do it using the Chromebook. It's giving me a space to type the comment, but there's like no return or.
Yeah, there's a comment button that you click, and that saves your comment.
I don't seem to have that.
Ooh.
There's a comment blank that I typed in.
And that's like you highlighted some text and then click the comment, like the little circle button, right? And type something.
I don't have a little circle button.
Okay. Is there a post button?
Let me see. I'm not seeing that either.
Is there a little like paper airplane looking like button?
No.
Oh, okay. So to make sure I understand, since I can't see, you're looking at the muscle car assignment, right? The student's work, and you highlight text.
I am doing that right now. Yes.
Okay. And then there's a little circle button on the right side that pops up with a little like gray square with a plus sign in it.
Yeah, I don't get that.
You might have to scroll over to see it because it's on the edge of the paper.
Oops. Scrolling. Nope. There is a spot that said add comments here, but I try to do that and it's not letting me.
Okay. So while you have that text highlighted, up in the bar up above, like where you can see like it says like normal text and it's got like the print button and that kind of stuff, there should be 3 dots.
Yes.
Okay. If you click on that, you should be able to find there's also a comment button in there. And so again, it's like a gray rectangle with a white plus sign inside of it.
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I got it.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more minutes.
And here's one that's probably worth mentioning to folks because a couple people may have this question. And the question was, how do I get back to the main classroom area? There are 2 answers to that. Jessica, you can correct me if I'm wrong. One is you need to see when you look into specific work, it opens up a whole new tab. And so to get back to the main classroom, you can just either close that new tab out or click on the tab to the classroom, which is still there. If you did not open up a new tab, you'll see the name of the classroom in the upper left part of your screen. It might say like Temp Paraeducator Institute 3 or whatever your classroom is. You can click on that name and it will bring you back to the classroom. How'd I do, Jessica?
Yes. So it's not intuitive. It got more practicing because it's hard to figure out. But yeah, it depends on where you are. If you're looking at the student's document, if you're looking at the muscle car assignment, you're looking at the, I think there's a canary report in there, a report about canaries and one about frogs. If you're looking at the actual file itself, that's open in a new tab. At the top, you'll see there's a tab just for that. And you can just close that tab. The little X can close that tab. If you're looking at the list of students and seeing like the little tiny preview of all of their files, then you click the name of the classroom up at the top, and that will take you back to the classroom. We keep telling Google Classroom that is a terribly not a great way to do it, that it's hard to know that's what you click on. And we will keep telling them, but that is how you do it right now. So you guys are doing great. Okay, I'm gonna have you go ahead and finish up your last comment, do your last thing, whatever it is you're working on, and I'm gonna have you come back then to the slide deck and to Zoom, come back to Zoom.
Steve, I have a question regarding the keyboard, the online keyboard. It keeps popping up. Is there a way to
Pops up on your screen, is that right?
Yes, it pops up and then it makes everything smaller, right?
And are you using a Chromebook?
Yes.
Okay, what you want to do is, that's an accessibility setting that you can turn off. And if you look at the lower left portion of your screen in your Chromebook, like slide down there with your mouse, and there's like the little menu control panel that shows up. And
so on the screen keyboard, right? Is there a setting?
oh, not on the screen keyboard, but actually your Chromebook screen itself.
Okay.
Down at the bottom left, you have there's like the time, and it tells you if you have Wi-Fi. And
Right.
so click on that and it'll expand.
Accessibility?
And then yes, go to accessibility, click on the little down arrow next to the accessibility word.
Got it.
And I think the very last option for accessibility is
on-screen keyboard.
Yes, and there's probably a green check mark next to that because it's turned on.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Now, if you have students that have one of those new K-2 touchscreen Chromebooks, that's actually a great feature because they can fold the keyboard back and it's like a giant iPad, and then they can just do their typing on the screen. But if you don't have a touchscreen keyboard, or if you just want to have all of the space on your screen to work with, it's not a helpful feature.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I have the new one and I was like, it keeps popping up. I don't know what to do. So thank you. Appreciate the help.
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit about private comments. We touched base on them already. I wanted to also show you where else you can see them. So you know that you could see them inside the assignment, right? If I was looking at a student's document or file, if I'm looking at their slide deck or something like that, I can see private comments in that little side panel. I can also see them inside that assignment overview. So when I first clicked view assignment and it showed me all the students, like little pictures, little previews of all the students' documents, right? If I click on a student on the side, so like here, I've clicked on show student 42, I can see there's a little bit of text here underneath. And actually it shows private comments here as well. So remember that students have that space. Actually, I'm gonna go back. So I'm gonna go back several slides. Don't get lost. Don't feel like your screen is freaking out or anything. I'm gonna go back several slides to this screen right here. So this is a picture of the student screen, right? When they're in an assignment, they see this on the side. And there's a space here where they can write private comments on the side. Even without opening up any files, they can put private comments in Classroom. I taught high school and I had a lot of students who would write like, does it have to be 3 pages long? Like they'd ask questions in there. And that was like a nice space to be able to give them to ask questions. Or if they said, like, you know, I need more time on this, I'm not going to be able to get it done in time, they could put it in there. And so that's, you might see, students might put private comments in there. So now I'm going to go back to where I was, to the other slide. There we go. And so those comments, when they put them in there, show up here in that assignment pane. So on that, when they have the list of all the students on the left, right, I'm in the window where I first clicked view assignment. It's showing me the previews of the students' work. In that, on the left side, I've got all of those students listed, and it'll put little text down there. You might have noticed it when you were playing around, because I did put in some private comments from students to help you see that. It'll have a little bit of text that'll show you, you know, what their private comment is. Like up here, show student 5 doesn't have any text. They didn't write any private comments, but show student 42 does. And so when I clicked on show student 42, it shows me the private comment bigger. I can type in more things here. And
oh, Jessica, we lost you again.
Oh no.
Jessica, we're losing you. We heard you say, so you can see with student 5.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your patience and grace with my apparently not great internet. So with show student 5 here on the left side, I can see there's no text underneath him or her, them, I don't know who show student 5 is. There's no text underneath their name. And so then but show student 42, I can see there's a little bit of text. It's very small. It says, how do I turn it in? And just the fact there's text there at all means they've left private comments. So when I click on their name, it makes that private comment bigger, and I can also type back right here. I don't have to open up the document to add another private comment. And then I use the little paper airplane to send that comment. Okay. Someone said the classroom's in a different format. Students are not listed on the side. If your window is narrow, it's going to try and like adjust space, and it might move things around. There's also only 2 students in your practice classrooms, so there's not a whole long list like I have here in this picture. I want to go ahead and open up for questions and give you a chance for some resources. These practice classrooms, I'm going to clean you out later today. I'm going to remove you as co-teachers. You won't have access to them anymore. But know that if you have any questions or anything that you need, feel free to come to office hours. We can absolutely put you back into a practice classroom to practice something together in office hours. So I am going to clear you out. You won't see it later today. It'll be gone from your classroom home screen. But I hope you had a chance to kind of like feel a little more comfortable, feel like you had a better, you know, knowing where to click and how to do things. I hope this was really helpful. So I've got some resources linked here about Google Classroom. I've got our Google Classroom website. This is geared a little more towards like the full Google Classroom, like posting assignments and making topics and like all sorts of stuff. But I think you'll find helpful things in there as well that fit what you're doing. I've got a Google Classroom guidance document linked here that teachers you're working with may find useful. You might also find it useful. It's kind of like a get up and go, like step 1, create a classroom, archive the old ones. Step 2, add topics. Like it kind of walks you through building a classroom. I thought it might be useful, or even just a place that you know it exists. And then lastly down here, resource number 3, I've got, it's a Google Classroom webpage for families. So if you're working with families and students and they're having trouble navigating Classroom, it's got like, what does the turn-in button look like? How do I send a comment? It's got kind of some of those how-to things. And because it's a district website, there are translation tools. So families that, maybe their most comfortable language is not English, they can actually translate the page and see like, oh, that's what the turn-in button looks like. And now I can also read what it does, because the turn-in button says turn in English, but like now I can look for that button. I can know what it does. So we have about 7 minutes left. I'm going to go ahead and open it up if you have any questions.
And actually, before we get to questions, might I mention, Jessica, some folks in our audience will just learn best by doing and playing some more. So Google Classrooms are free to create. You can create your own or as many as you want. Just go to the classroom home screen and hit the plus sign at the top where you can create a class. And you can even enroll yourself. If you have a personal Gmail account, invite yourself to join the class as a student so you can see what it's like on both ends, the teacher end and the student end. That may work for some folks. And last of all, somebody asked, well, how do I get to those Department of Technology office hours? I'm about to put a link in the chat that will have not only give you access to all of our DOT office hours where you can get personal support with this. But all of our district PD is there. I'll also put a link to the recorded webinars, which will help you get even this webinar later. Okay, thanks, folks. And since we're done the presentation part, Jessica, shall I stop recording? What do you think?
Yeah, let's go ahead and stop recording. This is a good time to stop. Thank you.
Okay.
Someone asked if most SFUSD students already use Classroom and already are comfortable with it. We saw many teachers adopt it last spring really quickly, but it's likely that experiences were spotty and varied, and so you still might find that you are having to kind of help train students into how to use Google Classroom. But I often think of it like that, beginning of the school year routine, the way that you help train students to know where to, how to ask for the bathroom or how to turn things into the basket, or what the routines are throughout the day. It's a similar idea, that it's just building a routine on a website, on a page, instead of in person in class. So they may have experience, but it also might be pretty spotty, and they're pretty varied. That what their teacher had them do last year in Classroom, maybe they never had to click the turn in button, and this year their teacher wants them to. So that sort of thing. Graciela asked about how to remove classrooms. Any teacher in a classroom can archive a class, and that hides it and kind of like freezes the class so that nobody else can add new things to it. I would check in with whoever, if it's your class, you can absolutely archive it. If it's someone else's class that you were supporting or were added to, I would check in with them and ask them if they don't mind archiving it. That's also part of that Google Classroom guidance document that one of it says step 1, create a new class and archive any old ones. And so you can certainly point any teachers you're working with that need help archiving a class instructions. There's actually a video on how to archive a class. It's very, very easy to follow.
Jessica, I hope you'll forgive me. I have about 3 minutes before I start my next meeting, and I'm in back-to-backs all day. So
yeah,
I'm going to run over and grab food from the fridge.
Yeah, please do. Take care. Thank you for being
so I can have that. But thank you, everyone, for letting me be your moderator. And you're in the wonderful hands of Jessica for the next couple of minutes. Please do give her a round of applause, especially if your camera is showing. Thank you, Jessica. We'll see you later on.
Stephen, thank you so much.
My
Very
pleasure.
informative.
Thanks.
Believe me, you and Jessica, you guys are awesome. That's all I can say.
You make us feel good about what we do. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen and Jessica. It's been really, really helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to hear that.
Glad you feel successful. Okay, I'm going to jump out. Have fun, Jessica. Have fun, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you, guys.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Just seeing you guys, that we got to do the interactive part.
Yeah.
I did lots of practice.
Be more comfortable. So I'm glad.
Okay. Okay, so Steve mentioned the resource area where we can go and look at all the webinars. Are you going to put that link down?
Yes, I think he forgot before.
Or anybody, right? Okay.
Let me
you.
I think he forgot it.
Thank you so much. So I just put it in the chat. That's where you can find all of our webinar recordings. You'll find this recording there as well. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions or anything we can help you with. I'm going to go ahead and go to my very last slide here. You can always reach out to help desk if something is like not working right. Your classroom is acting all weird or something like that. You can always reach out to help desk, and you can go to help.sfusd.edu. And there's a button up in the corner to submit a new request. And so just tell us what's wrong. If you can include a picture, that's great, because that helps us know and see what you're seeing. But please feel free to submit a help desk at any time submit a help desk ticket at any time with any questions. Right now, help desk is a little bit swamped, so they're going through tickets as fast as they can. We will get to you. I promise you aren't forgotten. But later in the year, it'll be much lighter. We'll get back to you much more quickly than we will right now. But I'm so glad all of you were here.
It is, my clock says 12:30, so time is up if you'd like to head out and go get lunch, take a walk around the block. It's sunny here. I don't know what it's like where you are, but feel free to do that. I'm happy to stick around for a couple more minutes. I do have a 12:45, but I can be here for another 5 minutes if people have any questions that I can still answer.
Jessica, can I ask you a question related to the help desk?
Sure.
I tried to email and I got a bounce back, and I tried to call and I got hung up on. It sounds like they're not taking any calls right now. Basically, there's a kind of like a phishing email that's going around to students and I think some staff saying that a password needs to be changed.
Yes.
My daughter clicked on the link, but she did not submit that form. When I saw the form, I said, don't fill it out. Should we be concerned by the fact that she even clicked on the link, or that's okay as long as she didn't fill out that form?
Clicking on the link should be okay since it's just a Google form. But I know that our Google security guy is on it this morning, and he is taking care of everything, getting passwords reset and taking care of all this stuff. So we had several people who reported it to help desk. I appreciate that you tried to report it to help desk, and we are on it.
Great. Thank you so much for your help with that, and also for the session today. It was very helpful.
I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yeah.
Again, really nice learning from you. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. That feels nice. Thank you. Call for any questions? Hopefully my internet's not out and you're not talking. It was really nice to work with all of you today. I hope you have a lovely day and stay safe and stay healthy. Bye, everybody.